Magic Mushrooms? From Eve's Garden to My Granny's Microdosing by Agüita. Narrated by Vanessa Weller. Chapter 4. The Revealed Secret. It was said that when the pilgrims arrived at the mysteries of Ulysses, they were mere mortals, and they were gods when they departed. How did they achieve that? No one knows, and that's why they're called mysteries. These mysteries captivated the brightest minds of the ancient world, infiltrating great civilizations: Egypt, Mesopotamia, China. Later, they crossed the ocean and, overcoming time and space, arrived on our continent through the written voices of Plato, Aristotle, Sophocles, Cicero, Aeschylus, Marcus Aurelius, and many other philosophers and artists. These written voices are still alive and kicking in the books that cram the shelves of our great libraries today. All of them say that the Eleusinian mysteries represent the best and brightest of the Athenians. And mind you, this is no child's play. We are talking about those Greeks who bequeathed us democracy, philosophy, theater, the Olympic Games, amongst many other pillars on which our culture rests today. In the year 380, Emperor Theodosius established Christianity as the sole and obligatory religion of the Roman Empire. Pagan cults were prohibited. The sanctuary of Ulysses was destroyed along with all the temples of ancient gods. Those who did not agree with the new religion were declared heretics. Women who practiced healing or rituals outside of the official faith were labeled as witches. Thousands and thousands of them were condemned to die at the stake by order of the Inquisition. Centuries have passed, but neither time nor dangers have discouraged those interested in deciphering the enigma of the mysteries. Researchers, scholars, archaeologists, anthropologists, chemists, botanists, philosophers, and other scholars have continued throughout the years, searching for traces, analyzing evidence, overcoming silences, and facing threats. It was only a few years ago that an American ethnobotanist named Moisson and a Swiss chemist named Hoffmann met in Athens and decided that, no matter what happened, they would unveil the secret of Ulysses. All the stars must have aligned, because everything was given to them as if by magic. And I say as if by magic, because everything came to them as if fallen from the sky. For example, when they did not know where to start their research, the librarian of the museum put the hymn of Demeter written by Homer in their hands. It contained the mutilated recipe for the sacred drink entrusted by the goddess of crops to the queen of Ulysses. This gave the chemist the key to making assumptions, and although these assumptions were not enough to obtain permission from the authorities to continue the research, they pointed them in the right direction. The mystery to be solved was in the mutilated recipe of the Kikion, so they had to discover the missing ingredients. But how? According to a library employee, the pair of researchers tried to communicate with an English archaeologist named Ruck, who had written a book on archaeological artifacts and could give them some guidance. They called him up, but the archaeologist's mother, who must have been really old, considering her son's age, told him that her son was working in an inaccessible area and would be out of contact for several weeks, but she could help them too. She was also an archaeologist. Once the old woman understood the situation, she suggested with a motherly voice, "You just have to look at the bottom of the jars." Look at the bottom of the jars? These words were magical to the chemist. The moment he heard them, he knew that, like in Cinderella's story, the pumpkin was about to turn into a grand carriage. Early the next morning, they arrived at the museum to obtain permission to enter the warehouse where uncategorized domestic archaeological artifacts were stored. After several procedures, they gained access, and in less than an hour, they rescued a pair of vessels used for preparing the Kikion. They made the necessary arrangements to take them out of the country as a cultural loan, and before you could say Jack Robinson, they were in New York conducting the laboratory tests instructed by the elderly mother of the English archaeologist. A couple of days later, the results revealed at the bottom of the vessels where the sacred drink called Kikion was prepared, there were sediments of hallucinogenic mushrooms. The discovery caused a stir. It was unbelievable. The best-kept secret in the history of ancient mysteries turned out to be none other than a psychedelic mushroom. Such a sought-after secret had remained silent for centuries, at the bottom of some vessels. It could have been a magnificent fairy tale ending if it weren't for the thousands and thousands of deaths caused by the crusade to prevent the secret from coming to light. What would have happened if this secret had been discovered before? Everyone would have known that contact with the divine no longer needed intermediaries. Oh my goodness gracious! No wonder the war broke out.